Aka wine. Yeah, that's good. I am. You know what? I don't see you. No. Okay, cool. We are. Gotcha, gotcha. Do you know, do you guys have stats how many people are watching? How many people do you have on the platform? Curious. Oh yeah? That's cool. Nice. Yes, I can, yeah. Yes. Perfect timing. I know. Oh my goodness. Yeah, yeah. No. Yeah, we had that in Miami Beach too, not for tornadoes, but for like the hurricane system. It was also the first of the month, the first Monday, yeah. Whatever. Okay, that's nice. Seriously, wow. Oh, cool. Very nice. Okay. Uh, yeah, very cool. That's okay. You know what? Let me quickly grab my tripod, okay? I'll be back in a sec.
Good afternoon, Quasar Markets Live. Welcome back. Welcome to our Trading Mindset Moments. I'm here with Agnieszka Woods. Agnieszka, how are you doing today?
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, Howard. I'm very well, thank you. Preparing for the hurricane on Wednesday, but for the rest, all is fine.
Yeah, I know you're another one down in Florida like Steve. I think you're a little bit further south,
Right.
so hopefully a little bit out of the
Yeah, we
eye
are
of.
we are on the side. We're gonna take the first hit.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, and Steve's right in the face of it. So, definitely something
Yeah.
to keep our eyes on and prayers for everybody. Um, I got to tell
Stay
you,
stay calm and carry on, right?
that's right. And what I would say is, today is a day that's definitely a day I think traders need to take a deep breath, probably step away from all of the screens and sort of get a reboot. In part, we have the Middle East is just imploding, Russia, more
Right.
angst there. Putin's going to meet with Iran. So a lot of things worried there. We got all the economic data this week coming out. So I love when we have you on to talk about how to get your mind in the right place. What kind of advice do you have on a day like today for people? How do we sort of decompress or step away or take a deep breath? What do we do?
Yeah, there are different strategies to trade, right? And sometimes days like today are really great for some traders. But I would say it's always you have to adapt to what you are capable of. Never really look at someone else, right? Because you might see on social media that there are people who are banking on this kind of news. But always stay focused on yourself because that's really what matters. Like nobody else will be taking the trade but you. And even if you might get into a position when where someone else is making money, you might not be able to have the resilience or the mental strength to manage it properly, right? So if it is out of your comfort zone, I would say, and when we talk about comfort in trading, it's a little bit of a kind of interesting concept because being a trader is like being in a constant discomfort, right? In constant
Yeah.
uncertainty. So when I say comfort, I mean the strategy, your trading plan so that like, okay, this is my performance zone. And just stay in there, even if it means I don't feel comfortable trading this environment or all this news make me biased. Know yourself. I
Yeah,
think that's where the awareness comes in.
that is a great point. Part of that would almost be there are people who are permabulls who don't like to bet the downside, who just don't.
Right.
That's not their nature. There's such optimists they have trouble, seeing that other side of the candle. Today might be a day to, walk the dog a little longer. Go for a run,
Right.
do something because it does look like a down day. We've seen such a great move to the upside. Retracements are a normal part of life.
Right. And even if it's not literally stepping away from your screens, if you still feel like, but I still want to trade, just remember that trading is not just making transactions. There's just so much more to trading. You can still analyze your trade, you can read through your journal, you can work on your strategy or your back testing. There's just so many other things you can do that's called trading. Really placing the transactions is like the least of trading.
Right,
You
it's
know
a
what I mean?
small
You
part. It
have
might
to
be the most
prepare
difficult part
well.
for some
Yeah,
people, but like you said, yeah, spend more time doing your back testing, checking your thesis, reading up on what might be your
right,
next thesis. There's so like you said,
right.
the market's 24/7. There's always something that you could be looking at. You don't want to do it 24/7, otherwise you'll go crazy.
Yeah.
But
And I think that adaptability is so crucial. It's such a crucial mindset skill actually for every trader to know when to, adjust. Like if the conditions are not the ones for you, just adjust. If you made a plan this morning because you had a certain thesis and now the market is doing completely opposite, just don't force it. Just learn to adapt, learn to let go, practice your patience, practice your adaptability
sure,
skill, right?
that's
There's so many
important.
different skills you can practice.
Right, or if the thesis changed, I did that today. I've been someone who feels that this China trade is a little overblown. That their economy is not going to bounce back. It's all stimulus based right now, and I felt that
Mm.
that was the case last week. But we see them merge up today because of the fact that they're coming back from the holidays. They haven't been trading in China for 7 days, so they're just getting back with the stimulus money, so to speak. So we saw it go up. So
Right.
now what am I doing? I take it a step back and looking at the levels that I might want to look at a short position on this rally because again, I've been listening to some folks that we've had here on Quasar Markets who feel the same way that you will see rallies in China equities right now, but there is not a long-term growth strategy there that's probably in
Right.
play. So I do think that's a great idea. Another thing that people could be doing today is taking a look. I have up on the screen, I have started to go through your email program that you provide for free. Again,
Thank
I
you.
do want to stress to everybody, just under Agnieszka, there's a QR code for trading mindset tips. It is a daily email reminder that she sends you. I was good. I was going to start it last week, and I said nope. I'm going to do it with the Quasar Market viewers, and I started mine today, so I have it
That's
up here.
awesome.
Can you go over the slide a little bit? The steps of mindset
Yeah,
transformation.
absolutely. Absolutely. So these are the three steps that they sort of simplify the whole thing about trading mindset and trading psychology and mindset transformation, all those, hot phrases that you see all over social media, something that you as a trader should be doing, right? Because usually when I see it's like, yeah, and I need to work on my mm, trading psychology. And I just wonder if like, do you know what is that? What is it that you need to work on? So I try to put it in a very simple terms, what that mindset transformation look like. Because what it is really about is about, first of all, building your awareness of what is it that I'm doing that's not working. It's really like the simplest way to say it. I'm doing something in trading, and if I don't get the results that I want, why?
Right.
How am I causing that, right? So you start pretty much with just observing yourself, and not just observing yourself. Obviously, you see yourself trading, um, but observing the motivations and the underlying dynamics, sort of beliefs that make you do certain things in trading, right? And when I say beliefs, I mean the thoughts you're telling yourself. So your internal dialogue, right? So beliefs is nothing else than the thoughts we keep repeating to ourselves. And then we start believing them, and then we find the evidence for them. And now they're our beliefs, and we think this is the truth. So a lot of those beliefs that we have and we act based upon, they get outdated. Maybe you have a belief from like 40 years ago, 30 years ago, maybe 20 years ago that you're still rehashing, and in life might have been great, but then you come into trading, which is a completely different environment, lots of uncertainty, everything based on probability, you just never know, and you try to push that belief into that dynamic, and it simply doesn't work, you know?
Right.
So you are becoming aware of that program, as I call it, that makes you act in certain ways. That's the part of building awareness, really um, looking at what's in my head, what is steering, like how is this working down there, up
It's
here, and then how is that coming out of my hands?
it's funny that you bring that up because it also goes along with some other things that we've heard from other coaches that we've been talking to on the different parts of our show with it's a big change in the market, right? It used to be very much thesis trading, and now what we have is quant
Mhm.
trading and computers and these algorithms that are running
Right.
so much of it. So I think that that's another way to look at it too, is that I think taking a step back sometimes you can look, like you're saying, at more of a total picture maybe of how you trade and what you're doing to look for those pieces that maybe aren't in sync.
Right, right. Because, there's a lot of things that's working for you, right? But there are just those little things, like how many times traders go really okay the whole month, right? They discipline, and then suddenly out of the blue, boom, they just the whole month gone.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're doing everything wrong, but there are just like, let's call them glitches in
Sure.
your program that make you sometimes misstep, and then actually the misstep is too big to not cause damage. And those missteps is the second step, where we go into discovering that narrative and discovering actually what is in that program that is limiting your potential. What is it that makes you make those steps, right? And that's where we start looking at limiting beliefs, and start building mindset skills to, first of all, to discover those limiting beliefs, but then also prepare yourself for changing those beliefs to empowering ones, and actually being able to withstand all this pressure from the market. So really learning the mental strength to be able to make rational decisions while the market is throwing all kinds of things at you, right? The market, but also your head,
Sure.
your old beliefs, and all the behaviors, the patterns, behavior patterns. Because sometimes, we can say, I want to go right, but then we go left, and later
Without a
on we like,
doubt. We all do
why
it.
did I do that?
I guess that leads to my next question. Do you find the traders are willing to open themselves up? Because I've found in teaching technical analysis that sometimes the biggest obstacle I had was for people just to believe the technical analysis works. So I have to
Yeah.
imagine that you run into that same thing, that people are like, oh, I don't mentally trade myself out of the trade.
Yeah. Actually, it's very interesting because that type of behavior and that type of approach is actually a result of a limiting belief. So the more someone is trying to convince me that they don't need mental skills to trade, it would be like someone is trying to convince you they don't need any skills or they only need technical skills to do something like to fly a jet,
Sure.
right? Or to go to a military, or like there's only one way. Like I only need to know how to do it, right? I only need to read the instruction and then I'll be good. So that only kind of tells me, okay,
This
at
is a
some point you
perfect.
will come across
Yeah, it's a perfect
yourself.
example. I just
You
wondered
will
because
hit
I
the
do
wall.
find, a lot of traders and a lot of us have big egos when it comes to it. So we don't
Yeah,
want to admit that there might be a problem there, and especially that it's a psychological problem because we like to blame our problems. There's always a piece of technical analysis that I can point to and say, oh, I didn't look at X, Y, Z, and this moving average was
yeah.
declining. And that's really a crutch, right? I would think.
I think that maybe that's exactly where the problem is. It's not a psychological problem. It's not like there is something wrong with you, and that's why you need to learn about mindset. That's totally a different story. There might be something wrong with you psychologically, I don't know, but like people have different lives. But for trading, it's not about something wrong with your psychology. It's about learning skills that you need to do the job. That is really that simple. And looking at, okay, what are the weaknesses that are actually preventing you from doing the job with a great performance that you want. Look, all the great performance in like sports, right?
Yeah.
Athletes, they have coaches, not because they are crazy people, but because they want to improve their performance. And it's mostly mental. I think the word psychology and mental maybe brings people kind of causes confusion, that
Right.
people think like, yeah, now I have to go to psychologist and lay down on the couch and
Yeah, it's
I,
not
I
Dr.
I had
Phil
someone.
necessarily, like you're
I
saying.
know, I know.
And I think you hit on two things that I have a past with that I would have to say, yeah, is sports psychology is a huge business and a huge part of when you see successful athletes. I played tennis growing up and through college. I was on scholarship for tennis. And it was a big part was, learning,
Right.
as important as getting my physical skills up. If my mind wasn't in the right place, if I didn't have the right attitude, and if I wasn't focused properly, I couldn't perform,
Right.
So I do
Exactly.
think that is exactly what this leads to. It's the same type of thing. And then the other part is,
Totally.
like you said, is um, when you argue the most vehemently that something is wrong or that you don't need it, you probably need it the most. I found in my life the things that I had the biggest objections were probably because deep
Right.
down I did realize that I did need to fix that, and maybe
Yeah.
we don't know there. So, um,
Usually it's our protection mechanism to do that, right? And yeah, and I think that's absolutely the case that if you really want to perform in something, you just need to get the right skills, and it is so important to find out, be aware of what is actually preventing you from doing that, right? So that's where that awareness and discovering like what is happening here, how are, because I don't think many people realize that everything that's happening in your head, like all your thoughts, they are really deciding about your actions,
right,
right? So beliefs is one thing, but there is constant internal dialogue based on those beliefs, based on everything you know so far, and we kind of tend to sit in there, right, and only like rehash the old behaviors. But if you want to create something new in your life, you have to stop rehashing the old. But in order to do that, you also have to create a new evidence for yourself. It's like, oh, okay, so I can actually do that. Oh, if I do this, this is how it's going to look. So you kind of give evidence to your brain, to your subconscious, to show that there are different possibilities. Otherwise, your head, your brain is going only picking up from what it already knows.
right. How do you suggest one that maybe is struggling with that? How do they get past that obstacle? Because I could see that being the biggest obstacle to, finding success with a program like yours.
You mean like to suggestion to become to build the awareness more?
Yeah, to build your awareness
Yeah.
like that, you might be stuck in a rut where you just don't, there's a problem, but how do I overcome, my apprehension to open myself up to new
Right.
ideas or to new ways of thinking about, psychology,
That's a
quite
very,
frankly.
very good question. First step is go to aheadcoach.com
There you go. I love it. There you go. It's the end of, okay, we're done for
and
today. Thank you.
and sign up for the mindset tips, because it will give you exact steps and really actionable tips how you can start building awareness. But even if that's too much for you, at least start observing your thoughts. Like, the best way to do it is to write them down, just to start a journal. And I know people have a lot of different reasons why they don't have a journal. They're not the writers, they don't like to write, they don't have a pen, I don't know, all kinds of excuses. Then start recording yourself when you trade. Just record your dialogue and speak out loud. Once you listen to yourself, you will discover a lot of things to start with.
I bet.
um,
I bet. I never thought of that. That's a great idea.
yeah, I mean, just this is also just like when we speak to other people, and if we are aware of what we are saying, you can learn a lot about yourself.
Yeah, I have a problem that I tend to speak very loudly. I'm a loud person, and people think I'm yelling sometimes, and I'm like, no, I'm just loud. I'm sorry, I'm just loud. I'm not angry. I'm not upset. I'm not even necessarily excited. I'm a
Yeah.
loud person. I grew up in a family they all yelled at each other, and to be heard, you had to speak louder than three other people.
Yeah, that might be enthusiasm, right?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so yeah, and I think the thing to really pay attention to is repetitive thoughts. What are the thoughts that you keep telling yourself? Like every time you take a loss, what is it you're telling yourself about yourself? Are you saying, oh, okay, belongs to trading, that's very normal. What can I learn from it? Or are you saying, why am I so stupid? What an idiot. Or I'm going to get it back. Like, what are those things you are telling yourself? Because that will tell you a lot about your dynamics, about your behavior, what is actually the trigger for you to start the next sabotaging behavior.
Or the next step forward, because
Yeah,
like you're
or the
saying is
next step
you're
forward.
you're
Yeah.
going through everything that I went through as an early trader, and in my mind that I didn't have someone like you to get the help from, and that you struggled with is, like you said, when you start to blame yourself, I'm, this, I
Right.
should have seen XYZ. I should have done XYZ. Why didn't I do this? You start to beat yourself up.
Yeah.
And then I get into the tendency of now I got to make it up. That was my fault. That wasn't on the market. That was
Right.
Howard's fault. So what are some
Yeah.
exercises or some ideas that would help us to promote this awareness, this sort of internal awareness that you'd suggest?
Yeah. I would say to even become aware of your thoughts and just sort of discover that you are not your thoughts, that there is just a stream. Most people have about 70 to 80,000 thoughts a day. What is it, 48 a minute? That's
What?
a lot of thoughts. Yes,
I
seriously.
think
So
I'm behind.
I realize you will not be able to write down all your thoughts, but that's also a good thing with journaling during trading because of the stream of thoughts goes so fast and there is a certain momentum to your thoughts. So when you think, let's say, a negative thought about yourself, several seconds later, there is a next negative thought that is following, and the next one, and the next one. Before you know, you are in that negative spiral pulling you down, and you are simply acting out those negative emotions. And the same is for positive thoughts. So to make sure that you are actually realizing that you are not your thoughts, that this is just like a function of your brain producing thoughts, let's say, of your mind, right?
Right.
Sit down for 10 minutes. Really, 10 minutes might be even a lot for some people. So sit down during the day. And I always say, if you tell me you have no time to sit for 10 minutes, just do it when you're on a toilet. Seriously, because
Yeah.
this is all excuses. There's always time to
Right.
do
Well,
that.
that's why I was asking about the obstacles because I know that we all find reasons to that not to change. We all find reasons, to not be
Yeah.
to do the things we're supposed to, and we know should help us.
Yeah, and and I totally understand. I'm like, I've been there. I have been, stuck in that cycle, and I wanted to change, but I couldn't, and I wanted, and I couldn't. So it is not that it's like I understand that you wanted. The only thing is that because the patterns of behaviors, whether it's positive or negative, they are sort of ingrained in your neural pathways, right? So if
Yeah.
you have been repeating a certain behavior for a long time, it is not that you're just gonna switch from one to another day. The problem is that if you don't do that practice consistently, if you don't know what steps to follow, you try one or two times and you're like, it's not working, and you stop.
Right.
And yeah,
That's it.
then it's
Everybody
not
think
working.
And I think that's a big part of learning as a trader and as just anybody that, it's not going to be. This doesn't mean that you're going to trade 1,000% in the rest of your life because you get your mindset in the right place. It's just one of the tools, one of the arrows in your quiver that
Yeah.
will allow you to, aim in the right direction as you're making these trades. Because I'm one of those people, I sabotage myself when I'm too positive. I'm not the one that goes,
Yep.
okay, I got beat down, I got to double down. I'm the guy that says, this is easy. Look, I just had 3 of these and they all hit the same
Yeah.
pattern. I got it figured out.
Oh,
And then I go 5 times my normal allocation. And of course, it turns the
yeah.
wrong way. So does this,
Yeah.
this would help with both sides of that, right?
Absolutely, because that's part of emotional regulation, and emotional regulation is one of the mindset skills that you learn. Emotion, like if you are getting too enthusiastic, that's like you produce all kinds of chemicals in your body, like
Yep.
one of them is dopamine, right?
Yep.
And when your dopamine is high, you can really hurt your account.
Yeah. Oh,
That's, yeah,
you don't have to tell me, especially someone who trades
yeah,
crypto, which is such a momentum
yeah,
trade that when
exactly.
it turns quick. And
Yeah.
that's where it goes to too, is where I try to get traders, and I would have to assume one of the things that people walk out of your trainings at, because I already see the difference in my attitude after just a few of your lessons,
That's
is
awesome.
that of centering yourself a little bit more. Not having the high highs, not having the low lows, but taking almost a more business-like approach. And that would be my advice to the viewers. If you're not thinking that this maybe is something you need, would you turn down if I offered you a free, if I said I'm going to give you 12 straight days or this session on technical analysis, you wouldn't turn it down. You'd look at it and decide whether you're going to use it or not. I implore our
Good
viewers
point.
that this is important to also. And if you don't get this part right, the money is never going to flow into your pocket the way that it should.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's really not a choice. Honestly,
Right.
it is not or. It's just like for people who are watching this and thinking, yeah, but I don't need it. It's just like just realize you're making a conscious decision to skip part that is going to help you to be successful in what you're doing
Absolutely.
because
That's exactly it. Is
it's pretty much that you're just like I don't need it. It's like, well, this is part of it. Like, it's not just because I'm a mindset coach, it's because I have been there and I have seen how big difference it makes. It made in my trading, and it makes in the difference for the clients I work with. And not just, not just in trading, because to be honest, the mindset skills, and when you transform your mindset, how I call it, if you go through those steps and you become a coach of your own head,
right.
hence a head coach, but you really are able then to be ahead of the triggers, whether it's in trading or in life, and not being, like we spoke last time, not being reactive, but being responsive, and actually being able to make the choice. Do I even want to react to that situation? And I know in trading, a lot of traders have problem with staying away, right?
Yep.
They say, yeah, but I'm so impatient. Like, it's not about impatience. You're eager to take action,
Yep.
but you have the choice not to.
And that
But
is
you
an
have to
action.
have the skill, yes. And it's absolutely an action, but it's a skill to tell yourself, I decide to stay away and stay away, right? And not being like pulled in all kinds of direction and do whatever anyone is saying. In this case, the market, your thoughts. You're like you think you're in control, but you're actually executing
You're
what your
still
head is telling you.
right. So you're still doing the same mistake. It's just in a
Yeah,
different
yeah,
form.
right, right. And the last step of the process is really making the shift. So once you know what is limiting you, now you can address it and have those limiting beliefs, transform them into empowering ones. And also, then you have also the skills that you can take with you, and then you have the tools so that you can keep your current beliefs and keep adapting your current beliefs. Because as I mentioned, like, the beliefs that were 20 years ago maybe are
Right.
not good for you right now. They're not working for you. The same way the beliefs you have now, they might expire
Sure, we
in a
all
few
have to
months, right? In a
evolve,
few
right?
years.
So they expire just like
Yeah,
my options do, huh?
right. So
But
at least know what your beliefs are
yeah, it's
if you
so
want to do
important.
the
To me,
least.
it's almost like an aha moment is what this sort of describes, is when you take a look in and then you sort of get that aha moment of, yeah, there is actually a connection between what I'm thinking and all of these things going through my mind and then what I
Right,
actually do. And to me,
right.
that's what I'm sort of learning as I'm starting this process, is that the two are, they're intertwined and there's no way to disconnect them. So if I don't get my mind right, I won't get my trading right. I truly believe that that is something that I've learned so far. So I can't thank you enough for that,
My pleasure.
thing. And yeah, I mean, that's what I take away so far. And I think that every trader needs it. I talk to 50 to 100 traders a day through our different channels and Slack channels and things that are giving me back interaction. And I see the same thing with all of them, is that,
Mm,
the great traders are the ones that are able to take and separate emotion and sort of the noise, like we talked about, away
right,
from their trade. And that's what
right,
you're teaching people, is how they're connected, but also how you sort of disconnect them, I guess would be the
right,
oxymoron of my statement there, is that it's sort
right,
of different.
right. Yeah, because you will feel scared, you will feel uncomfortable, you will feel stressed and all the things. Yes, but don't make it personal. And by listening to your beliefs, you make it personal. And the moment you do, you're not looking outside anymore. You're just looking inside and fighting that fight inside with yourself. So
Yeah.
if you want to stop that and just say, okay, you know what? It's sort of like now I'm at work. I'm not going to think about all these things that my head is telling me, oh, I'm afraid to lose money. What if this happens? What if that happens? And, trying to scare you. Like you can be actually really present and run your trading as a business.
That is the best advice you can have. Is it is your business, it is your money. Make sure you're
Right.
getting all of it together. Get your mind in the right place, and get yourself ready to trade. Again, I highly recommend that everybody go use the QR code that's on the screen. Get the free trading mindset tips. I'm going to give you a little hint. She's got more free programs that are on her site. We've gone over a
Tell me.
couple of them. Please look through our old YouTube videos here. We have them on the site. And it's just such great information. I really thank you so much for joining us every Monday and Wednesday, Agnieszka. Have a
Thank you, Howard.
fantastic start to your trading week, and we'll see you again on Wednesday.
Thank you so much. And I hope to see you on Wednesday. I hope I have power, but
We'll keep in touch for sure. Yes,
we'll
please
keep
be
in
safe.
touch. Thank you, Howard. Thank you,
You're
everyone.
welcome.
Bye.